Hey guys, Retro Nutcase here. I'm putting out this video because, one, it's a build that I know people are probably going to be requesting at some point, and two, because it's a relatively easy video to do compared to the one I did prior, which was huge. So this time around, we're going to be taking a look at one of my favorite builds, which I call the Nuclear Button build. The name comes from the fact it exists to do one thing: nuke everything and then nuke everything some more. It uses a combination of two bazookas, both atomic, one as a main weapon, one through a combination of a shield and arm combo that enables a second atomic bazooka. With this setup, you can effectively kill entire groups with a single pull of the trigger, and also kill tougher enemies as well. As you can see, whenever it fires a nuke, it kinda wrecks everything. So this build's usage is actually pretty simple. The idea is to get into Awaken mode as soon as you can, which I'll be doing shortly here, and the moment you enter Awaken mode, stay in it, as with the Assault upgrade you get in Chapter 5, you can spam nukes and upkeep your Awaken pretty much indefinitely, as Assault mode will make all rechargeable and reloadable stuff charge and reload faster. Much faster. So once you awaken, nuke, 6x missile pod to recover your Awaken, nuke, 6x missile pod to recover your Awaken. You basically just keep doing those two things for the entirety of your Awaken, which ideally should be until the end of the mission or bounty fight you're doing. Now, one good thing about this build is it's actually fairly flexible and has a rather low requirement on gear. It only has a few required components, those being you will need an atomic bazooka, obviously, as well as a GPO2 arm and radiator shield. The good news is all of these items can be found in the GPO2 kit in case some of them don't drop for you. Or you can just hunt a GPO2 and kill it repeatedly until you get the parts you need. The rest is pretty flexible, so don't worry too much about having to find specific gear for this beyond the pieces I mentioned. As far as builder parts go, a 6x missile pod is obviously going to be necessary because that missile pod is key to upkeeping your Awaken so you can continue to nuke spam everything in sight. Now, while the gear itself is not as strict in its requirements beyond the pieces I mentioned, you are going to want certain bonuses on your gear to maximize the effectiveness of this build, so I'm going to go into those now. For your melee weapon, the required components are going to be break chance up, bonus Awaken on hit, option equipment gauge charge on kill, bonus Awaken on kill, bonus X charge on break, bonus option equipment gauge charge on break, bonus Awaken charge on break. If I didn't mention that one already, there's a lot of on break bonuses here, and life on break. The other slots you're free to pretty much put whatever you want in, though I personally would recommend at least making one of those a melee DPS up. The reason you need all these bonuses is because you need Awaken. You need to upkeep your EX for damage boosting, since this build does use the offense field to maximize the damage of each nuke. And you also want to speed up your option recovery where possible, so you can use your missile pod more often when you're not in Awaken mode and can't get that super fast reload the Assault Burst gives you. Now, the Atomic Bazooka is a little more strict in what you need on it. You're going to want stagger chance up, knockback chance up, break chance up, shots explode in enemy proximity, projectile speed up, explosive range up, range weapon gauge charge up, bonus Awaken on kill, bonus Awaken on break, and of course, bazooka DPS. The reason you want this specific and strict set of fixes? Pretty simple. You don't want an extra long gauge because the longer your gauge is, the longer it takes to reload between shots. And no matter what you have on your gauge, an atomic bazooka is going to use up the entire gauge when you pull the trigger. So extra ammo does not help it because you can't get any. All you're doing is basically gimping your bazooka. The faster charge is obvious. You want this thing to reload as fast as possible outside of Awaken. And it does help a little bit when you are in Awaken. The stagger and knockback bonuses are pretty much required because with the other stuff on your melee weapon, unless you put those on there in the free slots I didn't put any required stuff on, you're going to need That extra knockback and stagger being contributed by your bazooka instead. The bazooka DPS? Well, duh. It's your main damage dealer. You need more damage on it. And you want faster shot speeds because the atomic bazooka shot by nature is slow. Really slow. That and proximity detonation will help with the slower projectile speed and make sure your shots are on target and blow things up where needed. Although in a lot of cases, I don't recommend aiming directly for your enemy. Instead, aim for somewhere where the shot will reliably hit and detonate quickly. Now, for your head, I do recommend shooting mode damage up. Both the generic effect, which you can upgrade, as well as the unique one that gives 50%, which can be found on the head of Gundam Dynames. This is because your nukes are going to be that much more potent if they get a percent damage bonus from shooting mode. I mean, come on, over 50% more damage per nuke? That's going to add up in a hurry. You're also going to want to add some break chance up because, well, you do need more break chance, since breaking will help speed up various things for you, as well as keep you alive. You'll also want extra life on your head, and all parts really, for survival purposes. Reaction time to help with your melee when your bazookas are down and you aren't an Awaken, as well as bazooka DPS and bazooka DPS mastery, which is the percent version of the bonus, to give you even more bazooka damage. In the slots that don't have any strict requirements, other things you could try are Full Armor Gundam's bonus to break resist, which is a whopping 25%. You can also put some option equipment bonuses in here if you rely on option equipment during the times your Awaken is down. For example, if you're using, say, attached machine guns or similar in lieu of, say, what I'm doing, which is just constantly nuking everything and occasionally missile podding. For the body, you're going to want more stagger chance since only one of your weapons will likely end up having that, so the body's going to need to pick up the slack there on your stagger chance. You're also going to want bonus Awaken on hit because, well, again, you want to get into Awaken as fast as possible and you want to upkeep it. Every little bit you can do to upkeep and enter Awaken helps. Life per second will also help in keeping you alive. Bonus Awaken on break. Same reason as the other Awaken bonus. Life on break to help with survival, as well as the option charge bonus unique from Strike Freedom, which will help your option parts recharge that much quicker and is a pretty significant bonus. You might also put other option equipment bonuses here too if you have any free slots for them. For the arms, more life, reaction speed to help with your melee when you can't use your nuke-spam, bonus X-Charge on break to help with upkeeping your offense field. Melee weapon DPS and mastery to help with the times you can't be an Awaken and need a DPS, thus you'll be forced to do melee. The unique life per second bonus from Turn X, since this is one of the few times you can get life per second on a piece other than a body. As well as the unique physical damage resist from Strike Freedom, which is a whopping 20% physical damage resist. The arms don't get to help a lot with the build directly, as you can see, but there's still a few things you can do utility and defense-wise to make the build work. The melee bonuses in particular will help a ton if your bazookas are reloading and you aren't in Awaken mode, so you won't be busy trying to upkeep it with missile salvos between your nuclear blasts. For the backpack, you're going to want to have life, boost speed, Awaken duration, and life per second. These are all just little things that help with your utility and survival and help with Awaken. There's a lot of freedom what else can go on your backpack. For example, you might put more stagger and knockback resist in them. You might also do things like boost speed. And you might also put in Awaken duration if you feel your Awaken's not staying up long enough. Really, it's up to you. And now, because I accidentally skipped a spot, let's go back and double back the legs. So for legs, knockback chance, since only one of your two weapons will likely have it, and you're going to need more of it. You'll also want some stagger resist and knockback resist here as well, to go ahead and make sure that when you're busy trying to ready your secondary nuke, which takes longer to fire and has an animation lock, you aren't getting interrupted out of it. Life and move speed are two other important things for survival and for keeping yourself out of trouble. Healing bonus is also a good thing to put here, so your repair kits and your repair EX are more effective, and other slots aren't really going to have room for it. And of course, you can't go long with life on break for some additional healing where needed. Finally, we're going to go into the shield. The shield should have shield DPS and shield charge speed. These are two givens because your shield is your second nuke launcher. Stagger resist and knockback resist are also good things to have here, as well as Akatsuki's unique beam resistance. This is one of the few times you can put a damage resist bonus on a shield, and therefore I strongly recommend it goes here, since you won't have slots for Akatsuki's beam resistance anywhere else. You can also use the stacking damage reduction bonus, which is procced whenever enemies target you. Since you'll be the attention of a lot of enemies when nuking, you might as well make it so you take less damage. For your builder parts, you're going to want one 6X missile pod. No more, no less. This pod serves two purposes. Number one is when you're not an Awaken, use it to proc all your on-break bonuses and get into Awaken that much quicker, and also go ahead and quickly charge your offense field. When you are an Awaken, you're going to spam it non-stop between your nukes in order to make sure you don't leave Awaken. Other than that, you're pretty much free to use whatever you want there. For EX actions, I strongly recommend using the offense field to make your nukes hurt that much more, armor repair to stay in the fight, and then from there you're pretty much free to use whatever you want in the other two slots. Use whatever helps supplement your current setup and gives you some options to use when you aren't able to spam your nukes. So there you have it. Everything you need to make your own nuclear-equipped walking death machine. Like what you see? If so, please feel free to comment about it. Feel free to suggest ideas on how to improve the build. And of course, if you like what you see, definitely subscribe and like the video. This is Retro Nutcase. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, and you all have a good one.